Today I got the Platinum in Dead Island 2, and this is currently the 4th game in the series, only coming out a year ago. And if you don't know what Dead Island 2 is, according to Google, it's like No Man's Sky. Anyways, the Platinum only takes 30 hours to get, and I ended up doing it in 20, so I guess I'm just the greatest player of all time. Seriously though, how is it taking them 30 hours to complete this game? Before we started off the game, it let us choose our characters, and obviously I had to go with the hottest one. So obviously I ended up choosing Little Pump. Not actually, I went with Danny because she's good enough. The game ended up starting with us getting a really bad plane crash and nearly dying. Right after getting off the plane, we ended up finding some very important characters who affect the story a lot later on. Most of them, some of the characters are just useless. Anyway, she ended up giving us her address and told us to meet her at her house for safety. As soon as they left, zombies ended up showing up and we gotta fight a bunch of them. After a bunch of fighting, we ended up helping out this person and they actually bit me, and this is where your generic zombie game starts off. And as we were making our way to Emma John's house, we ended up finding out we were immune to the infection. Shortly after that, we ended up making our way to Bel Air so we could try to find her house. Anyways, once I made the way to her house, they all tried to shoot me because they saw I was bit. Then my character passed out and they ended up tying me up just to see if I would turn or not.
Okay, that toy cuts. Just press the button. Come on.
For fuck's sake. Everything in this city is fake.
Hey, yo, why does she have toy cuffs? You know what? Don't even ask. Once I cleared all the zombies off of her property and went back inside, I ended up getting my first trophy in the game. Anyways, while we were inside, Sam B ended up kicking down the door and he came back to quote-unquote protect Emma, but I think we all know the real reason he's back. Shortly after that, we ended up making our way over to the hotel so we could find the authorities to tell them that we're immune. And as I was just killing a bunch of zombies, I ended up getting a trophy for doing something with their limbs. And then once I made my way into the hotel, I got an achievement for making it. But the doors to the radio were locked, so we had to go on a scavenger hunt to find the keys, because you know, of course, it can never be that easy. Once we made our way outside, we ended up finding out that the military is using acid to dissolve all the zombies. And then our character wanted to experiment, so I ended up throwing some zombies into the pool to see what would happen. And shocker, they disintegrated.
No shit.
Then we made our way back into the hotel because we had to go to the 3rd floor because someone was up there tweaking out. And as we spent 20 minutes trying to get up there, once we finally made it, we just ended up finding out they were dead. Anyways, while we were up there, we ended up finding the keys to the room, so I guess one good thing came out of it. And as we were on the radio with the authorities, the game ended up throwing us into our first mini boss fight. And after seeing the zombie, the husband low-key dodged the bullet with this one. And as we were fighting the boss, we ended up getting a trophy for killing 100 zombies with any of the elements. After killing the boss, we quickly found out that that enemy is going to be spawning more and more throughout the rest of the game. Now that the authorities know, we have to go back to Emma's house and convince them to go to Beverly Hills with us. And on our way back, I ended up getting a trophy for using 25 finishing moves. After we made it back, no one wanted to go to Beverly Hills with us, so we ended up going by ourselves. And while I was here, I ended up finding the most average person from California ever.
Yeah, well, if I open this door, a whole load of zombies might rush in, and I'm pretty sure that's a bad thing.
Next, we had to make our way to Monarch Studios to save Michael because he thought he was the main character. Well, Michael, you're not. And then once we found Michael, he tried to kill me at the fire hydrant, and right after that, we got thrown into our second boss fight. And the boss ended up being some fat zombie that decided to eat the acid, now he can just shoot it at us. Then once we killed the boss, we went to go check on Michael, and we ended up finding out that he only came out here for a stupid trophy. So yep, you got that right, I just wasted an hour and a half on this idiot with his trophy. But on the bright side, we got our next trophy after this cutscene. And on our way back to Emma's, we ended up finding Sam B, and we were about to get some fire weapons, aka the game's gonna get good. And as we were using the weapons, I quickly found out that the guns in this game are complete mid. Then I ended up getting swarmed by a bunch of zombies, so I don't know if this game thinks it's Left 4 Dead or something, but it isn't. After killing all the zombies, I met back up with Sam B and it gave me my next trophy. Then when we made it back to Emma's house, Sam B ended up telling us the best way to travel is through the sewers, so that's what we do from now on. And while we were down here, we ended up meeting this guy that was a little bit questionable in the head, I'm not gonna lie. Then while I was just running around exploring, I ended up collecting a journal and I got a trophy for getting 50 collectibles so far. And then shortly after that, I got a trophy for putting 10 apex predators on their knees. And while we were down here, we ended up finding this girl that made my character go apeshit and we just turned into a zombie. And then once we got out of the sewer, our character had no clue where we were at all. And then shortly after that, we made our way to the Blue Crab, I'm pretty sure it was called. And then they invited me in, and all the characters just started arguing. Then out of nowhere, this guy just died. This guy was so lit though, before he died, he got one last hit in. And then right after that cutscene, I got my next trophy. Then after that, I decided to take a break from the story and just start work on a bunch of side quests. And then after 3 hours of side quests, I got a trophy for completing 10 of them. Now I'm gonna be honest, I do not recommend you play the game that way because it made it a lot more boring for me. And then pretty much immediately after this, I got another trophy, and I still don't really know what this one was for because all I did was kill a zombie. In the clip here, I opened the description, and I'm gonna be honest, at the time, I didn't even look at it.
Stupid.
Anyways, I went back to working on the side quest that has 7 freaking parts to it where I just had to collect a bunch of of zombie parts from different types. And that might not sound too bad until you realize how freaking annoying some of these guys are to kill, or just in general how hard they are to find. This one side quest right here is probably the reason I have 20 hours instead of like 16. Before I went back to the main story, I decided to do some extra side trophies, and the first one I got was maxing out a purple weapon with fully customizable slots. And then while doing a side quest, I got another trophy for getting 5 blueprints. And then right after that, I went back to the story. Crazy, I know, but we made our way over to Ocean Avenue. And the first thing I did while I was here was immediately try to break into the hotel to get to the doctor. And then once we finally met him, bro was being a little bit too nice, which in its own should be a little suspicious, but what do I know? Anyways, after that cutscene, my character woke up from a nap, and I actually got 2 trophies. One was the story trophy, and the other one was like getting 30 cards or something like that. And if you don't know what the cards are in this game, they're kind of like the skill tree, but if you understand it at all, then you're just a rocket scientist, I guess. Anyways, once my character woke up, they wanted me to go find the janitor because the water turned off for some reason. After I fixed the water, we ended up going to the doctor, and he wanted me to grab his laptop, which for some reason it was in Santa Monica.
Oh my god!
Before I did that, though, I unlocked a bunch of missing people side quests, and once I got all of them done, I actually got a trophy for completing 20 non-story quests. Alright, back to the story. When I was doing the main quest, the game decided to throw a billion zombies at me for some reason, and I ended up using my ability, and it gave me a trophy for killing 50 zombies. And then shortly after that, I got introduced to easily the most annoying zombie in the game, and this guy caused me so much pain. Anyways, the only way you can damage the zombie is by hitting him from the back. And that already sounds pretty bad, but once the zombie decides it's had enough, it'll run away and quickly heal up, and it'll come back for round 2. Anyways, once I killed this guy, I quickly grabbed the laptop and I was ready to go back. Before I did though, I finished up a side quest and it gave me a trophy for helping out all the bobcats. And from what I understand, the bobcats were just a bunch of random characters that had their own little side story. It was kind of whatever. Anyways, once we gave the laptop back to the doctor, he wanted to review the blood sample, so we just kind of kicked this out and then we got a trophy for it. It's actually crazy how stupid these characters are to not realize when the main enemy is playing them. As I was getting closer to beating the story, the first thing I decided to go for was hit an enemy 35 meters away with a throwable or something. After that, we found the doctor's lab and we ended up finding one of his patients, and shortly after finding it, he turned into a big alien thing. I lied, even aliens look better than he does. Anyways, after killing it, I got a trophy for equipping my first numb card. Quickly after the fight, we made our way back to the doctor's lab just to find out him and his daughter ran away. Anyways, we quickly found out where they ended up going, so we decided to go quickly chase them. But once this cutscene ended, I did end up getting a trophy. Then after that, we ended up finding Pan and we convinced him to fly us out of LA. I always knew this dude was the GOAT. Oh yeah, also for some reason I got a trophy for this as well. Shortly after that, I killed my 50th butcher and it gave me a trophy for killing every zombie in the game. And then shortly after that, I got a trophy for surviving the metro system. Then shortly after that, we ended up finding the doctor, and for some reason he infected himself. I don't know why, there seems to be a pattern with these zombie games where infecting yourself is the cure. Anyways, once he turned into a zombie, we made quick work with him and killed him first try.
Stop the cap.
Once we made it back to everyone, I ended up getting 2 trophies. One trophy was for getting a legendary weapon. The second one was for giving the cure to Sam B. Now that I beat the game, all I really have to do is just a bunch of filler. And the first thing I did was do all Amanda's quests, which gave me a trophy. And then I got another trophy called Make It So for doing another side quest story. Then I ended up completing the side quest Missing Nadia, and it gave me a trophy for doing 4 non-story side quests. And then I ended up doing the scariest mission in the entire game, which gave me 2 trophies upon completing it. Anyways, here's like 20 more random trophies because I have no clue what any of them were. Trophy. And these last few trophies were easily some of the worst in the game because of co-op. The first trophy was rob a player 5 times. That doesn't sound bad until you realize it took me hours to find players to actually play with. Until I had the great idea, let me just find an AFK player and farm revives off of them. And then once I did that, it just ended up giving me the trophies. And I actually got super lucky for this last trophy because I joined this co-op game as they finished the quest, and it just gave me the trophy leading on to the platinum. Well, that's going to be all for today's video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'm out of here.